waiting for Jeopardy to start.
You're
The
live.
feed has begun. I love it. Facilities meeting, May 12th, 2025. Thank you, everybody, for attending. We will start and just kind of go around the horn. I know today we want to be fairly quick, as quickly as we can be, because I know we've got some good art stuff happening downstairs. So with that said, I will turn it over to Mr. Doherty, and then wherever you want to.
Yes,
Well,
yes, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Farrell and Mr. Souls and Mr. Smith and also Mr. Giant here to talk about some security. So we'll talk about the referendum projects first, so.
Just a quick update on the referendum projects. Sand Hill Elementary School building pad is complete. The under slab utilities and foundation prep, that we had to pause on that because of the rain. And the substantial completion date is the 9th of October of this year. At Niceville Elementary School, I'll let Jeff talk about that one because he's got the reins on that.
So everything's going very well there. The remaining abatement won't take place until we get to summertime because they're in the teachers' classrooms. Obviously, we don't want to disturb them until school's out, but they have been able to get a jump on painting classrooms. So I think we've got about, I think it's 16 or 18 classrooms already painted, and we're expecting to have the bulk of the classrooms painted before we even get to summer. They're working every weekend trying to knock that out in conjunction with Miss Sieber and making sure they can accommodate teachers and still get them painted while we have some time. The flooring obviously won't start until summer gets here, so it's first week of June. And then we should have a recommendation to the board next Monday for the award for the roofing and exterior walls projects.
At Somerville Elementary School, the addition back here, construction document development is in progress. They've got the OSF has the design documents now. They're going to start reviewing those on Wednesday. I met with the Board of Architectural Review last week, and that whole package was approved as submitted, which is unbelievable to me, but we got it through there. But the demolition of the old wing will begin on June 2nd, and that is when everything goes from there. Did I skip one? No, that's right.
All right, we're going to turn it over to Mr. Jai.
I've got nothing but good news as far as referendum projects go for safety and security. The radio project is just about complete. I had no idea the scope of that and how big it was and is. MCA is working on a bunch on this, but all of the schools now have their new radios and are operating on the new system. We're still working out some of the kinks and the little bugs in that, but we are on track to be completely finished with that August 1st, with as far as having the district office up and running as well. The 3M window film, the POs have already been issued for that. They're going to start the installation on June 2nd. So students are out, they're going to start going school by school, and they expect to have that completed by August 1st. Have all the schools done with 3M window film. All referendum camera and door access control additions are complete. We've been able to get all of that finished and checked off our list. And then we are currently in the process of finishing up the front office vestibule or storefronts, the secure glass in the front offices. There are a couple of schools that are much bigger projects than the other ones, so we're gonna get those done over the summer. You can see those there, Joe Pye, Austin Bailey, and Fort Worcester Elementary, but they will be in place by the start of the school year next year. So pretty excited about those.
So the other referendum projects we've got going, the Ashley Ridge High School additions, schematic design was submitted last week and is submitted to OSF for approval. We had to phase that project because of the multiple layers of construction and addition that has to go through there. We have to finish one before we can start the other. So that's kind of it's going to be a process to take it out through there, through the phasing through OSF. And the start date on that is June 2nd. And that'll begin with the simple part of just taking 2 large computer labs in the school and turning that into 4 classrooms, 4 separate classrooms. That'll start on the 2nd of June.
are we doing, because I know when we were out there, we'd spoken about some additional space out there. Is that, or did we already put that into OSF?
That's the schematic design that has been submitted. Yes, sir.
Okay, with the additional
Yes,
space.
sir. Yes, sir. It's about a 5,000 square foot band room. And we're going to take the existing band room and add about 2,000 more feet to that. So it'll be about a 5,000 square feet that we will use for the weight room. And then we're going to go in and renovate the weight room. You got to finish one to move it's
Little chess.
a little,
Chest game, right?
yep, little frog hop there, but we're going to get it done. At Fort Dorchester High School classroom addition renovations, we're working on finalizing the scoping concept out there. We met with the architect last week and everybody seemed to be on board with the way we're thinking. It's gonna add some classroom space out there. The parking lot projects, Jeff's been working on that and the roofing exterior.
Yep, so parking lots, we've got process meeting with the paving vendor and the schools to kind of schedule timing out. Obviously, Somerville High School, full campus, mill and pave. Windsor Hill, same thing, mill and pave. Newington and Flowertown, most of the campus being milled and paved. East Edisto, we're adding additional parking. And OES is gonna get a seal coat and stripe. So we've already got all those POs issued and we've already started talking to the principals about scheduling and how we're gonna do all that. We already did, people may have already heard, we already did the back road to Flowertown, Newington, so that's done. That part of the project is done. It'll get striped when we actually do the rest of the project. Roofing wise, we already mentioned Niceville earlier, Windsor Hill, that one is in as well. It'll come to the board for approval next week, Monday as well. And we should have Beach Hills and it'll be designed and done probably by the end of the month, first part of June. And we also have the Oak Brook exterior wall project we should be getting back this week, so we can put that out for bid.
Oh, I've got a quick question on Ashley Ridge. Do you know whether or not the band instructors had some input? Because when I was out there once, they were telling me about whenever it rains like this and their uniforms get wet.
Band director was very much involved in that
Very
whole process.
Okay.
We pretty much met, exceeded, we have exceeded their expectations.
Very
with
good.
What we have designed.
Okay,
As far as the band room, there's some individual practice rooms. There's ample storage for uniforms. There's ample storage for their instruments. So she's ecstatic.
Down to the water fountain outside. Yeah, so yes.
now I can go back out there and feel better about seeing them.
And also with Fort Dorchester, when we went through with the engineers, the principal, athletic director, we walked through every room, every possibility of where things are gonna be and all the different avenues of moving it around and different programs and how that's gonna fit in. So.
Okay.
Any other questions? So instead of push the point at your computer, I'm pointing. Next slide. Next one. It's froze.
Oh, it's not frozen on mine. Just give it a second.
Oh, so I've moving it along.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we're skipping a line.
Technology's a great thing.
There we go.
All right, there you go.
The Somerville High School gym, of course, we selected Thompson Turner as CM at risk on this one, McMillan Paz and Smith as architects. And we're working with the entire team to finalize the floor plan for this, where you see the gold star is the location of where the gym will be.
It always,
Just a little delayed.
okay, all right.
Every time I see that field, it just cracks me up to think that we were, what's that?
Good job.
63 years.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
know, so that's,
That's the last piece of grass that we are, so that's the last piece of grass. So after
Yeah.
this, there will be no more.
so this is the.
Can you go back to that last picture?
I think I can.
Give it a second. There you go.
So where that star is, the gym's gonna be there. We've had some questions about, could there be tennis courts there, located on top there? Is that possible?
Not with the, we have to have a drainage pond, which would be to the top of the star to the right, kind of that corner with the woods. And so once you put the gym and the retention pond and then you bring the road through, there's not enough room in that facility for tennis courts. Once you deal with all the storm drainage and the emergency access. I did learn something. All right. So this just gives you the scope to which we're looking to continue. And we're, like I said, we're still in progress and still working at that as well. No, we'll get up with that. Okay. All right, the ponds, just a quick update of where we are. You know, our engines are full blast. You can see that fall of 26 is in red. That's still slightly open. They did mention that tonight, so I was glad that they mentioned that. They're still working. Fall of 27 right now is definitely within our wheelhouse and going forward. So that's kind of the update on the ponds. Okay, there you go. This is just the Yerby track information. The red star is kind of where the road ends. You can see our land is outlined in blue. We cannot get to the land presently, so, but that is 1.5 miles from the red star to the road. Me and Tony, a week ago Friday, went out there, and when you get to the red star, it just looks like beautiful country and trees, and there's nothing disturbed, and there's no progress. So we get to the next. There we go. I'm gonna turn this over to Rhonda because I think she's quite familiar with this piece.
This is a snippet from the actual land development agreement. You can see where Yerby Road is there, and then the star indicates where that road ends, and then our school site. So in the land agreement, it states that the developer is to deed the land over to the county before their very first certificate of occupancy. And what that means is that the house is built. It doesn't even have to be sold yet, just that the house is built, and then they'll turn that land over to the county. And then it's my understanding that that point it'd have to be rezoned public land, so then in turn it can be provided to us.
And you can kind of look, they're projecting 25 homes at 25. That's Tony, you're the professional. That's just not going to happen because right now it's a dirt road. It goes about 1 mile in and then it turns to dirt road. And like I said, it's beautiful country with beautiful trees and grass, and there's absolutely nothing that has begun. So 25 homes, I just don't see that happening in 25.
I think the biggest thing we need to point out on that slide is where the asterisk is, the building will occur based on market conditions. Now, I don't see 25, unless they jump on it pretty quick and start clearing land, but it's going to be kind of tough to get done between now and the end of the year, I think. But I spoke with the engineer that was working on the Yerby track. He works for Thomas and Hutton, and he said that the road that takes you from where the road currently ends over to the public use land from the red star over to the blue box is probably about 2 years away from getting that road in. So that would put our planning down, kick it down the road, because it takes about 3 years, the time we start our due diligence survey, the time we start our design process, the procurement process, and then the construction taking 15 to 18 months. That's about 3 years total. So if we add that 3-year total to the 2 years of getting the road in.
So even if a house was completed and had the certificate of occupancy, if we didn't have the road, could we even access the land?
The 41st house has to be built and ready for sale, correct, Rhonda?
So for them, they have until the 41st certificate of occupancy to have just Yerby Road done.
So, okay, let's say we had the land then. Without the road,
The land is pretty much inaccessible.
we can't do
We
anything.
can't get to it to do our due
So
diligence.
really, this isn't even just about that first certificate of occupancy, it's also about the road.
It's about the road. It's mainly about the road.
Sure.
And so what are the provisions around the road?
The Yerby Road had to be complete prior to the 41st.
Is that the Yerby Road all the way to the land that we can't
That's
get?
that's the question that
So I think Yerby Road is the main road coming in off Orangeburg Road going down to where the red star is.
Exactly.
So that's the road that they have to have done before the 41st CO.
Okay.
So that hasn't taken anything into account to put the proposed roadway in from their model homes over to the public use land.
Right, so the road that shall be named as the proposed road.
The proposed
To the
road
land that we don't yet possess.
until
But even if we were to possess, we would have no road to
You would
get.
have no access to it.
Are there any provisions in the development agreement that give us anything to go on, or are we gonna find ourselves back into another corner where we have ideally a piece of land that we can't
No
use?
access.
Correct.
Especially within the 5 years. I mean, when we look at the referendum, you're supposed to, have the money spent within 5 years. So that's a concern for us, obviously.
Developers, so there's.
And this one, we are gonna get the land sooner. Just, we gotta figure out to get access.
Yeah, we're not gonna be building the proposed road.
No, sir.
And so what are the provisions to get the proposed road built? And so.
I don't think I don't think they have.
That's just the Yerby piece, as I understand it.
That's what we developed.
in the development agreement. It's just whenever they build them and they're ready to go.
So who builds the road though? The developer?
The developer.
And it depends on what phase, you know how we saw with the ponds. You don't have to follow order, you'd think logically.
They
you
could
would-
build the road right away. if
They
want.
could, but you're also, you can do phase 1 and then jump to phase 3. They jump around. So depending on where their development is, when you look back towards our land, the land, when do we get close to that public land? I so that's the Yerby information.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And this just goes over like how we can acquire property, whether it's given to us or we purchase it. You go through the same exact process as we do with the ponds, and I'll let Tony jump in here.
So the very first thing, this comes straight from the Department of Education website. It's how it's a land acquisition flow chart. And we start with a district charter, which is you enter an agreement with the landowner or whoever you're getting the land from. And then we would go and take that and I would enter it into the portal. The OSF portal, you put in there's certain information you have to put in there, a TMS number, the number of acres and all the wherewithal for that piece of property. And then you have a site evaluation with OSF and DOT. And then after that, that's when we start once we have that site evaluation, DOT and OSF, they would then either approve or disapprove the acquisition of that land. If they approve for us to move forward, at that point is when we start our due diligence surveys, which is the geotech surveys, the topo surveys, all of our archaeological surveys, everything that is required is like 7 criteria that OSF requires us to have for that. And then once all that is uploaded and they approve it, the superintendent and the board chair gets an email from OSF to sign off on it in the portal. And once that is done, it would go back to the OSF director for final approval. And then at that point in time, after that, is when you would write the check or have the land in hand. And that whole process takes about 6 to 8 months from beginning to end, so.
So we are not, the land has already been approved for us to be able to build on it? I mean, we tested and everything is okay? I don't know that much about.
No, ma'am. So I can't tell you about the Yerby tract or any other tract of land we can talk about. I can tell you about the ponds tract because we've done our due diligence survey at the ponds. So what we did there is we followed that flow. And all that information that they find for you, the geotech survey, that's just a subsoil survey to tell you what conditions are under the surface.
But when it comes to the Yerby tract, we'd be sitting here waiting and doing whatever, and then it's not.
I know we're gonna have to wait at least 2 years before we can even get to the property to do the due diligence surveys.
Okay.
So it doesn't even make sense. Like you haven't even put that into the portal yet, then I'm assuming.
No, sir.
Because it doesn't make sense.
I can't be. Well, once we have access to the property is when we would do that. And I would hope by the time we have access to the property, that it would already be deeded over to us. That's my hopes anyway.
All right, so just land acquisition, we are, Tony has been in talks and We are looking at land in this area, on Delmar Highway, you can see the different developments that are coming up. Approximately 50 acres, future school site. Of course, like Tony said, it's 3 years from when we have access to the land, so.
So this is one thing the board's asked, what's plan B, C, D, and F, so again, looking at the future, the only land that we actually own is Bridalwood. I believe that's only 20 acres, is that right?
Correct.
And so it'd be very hard to put a campus on that property. And so just thinking of the future where our growth is out in that area, just looking in that area. So again, trying to plan for the future. And so looking at some of these areas. And so that'll be something we'll talk to the board more and get your advice and direction on which way you'd like to think some of those things.
One thing about land, they're not making any more of it.
Especially in the areas. of
And the
growth.
date of buy it was yesterday.
So I do have a question, Tony. So if you're looking for land, do you do the due diligence survey? Do you buy the land before you do the due diligence or can you just do?
So
How's that work?
what you do is you would enter into an agreement with the owner of the land. And in that agreement, it would have a clause in there for due diligence. And during that due diligence period, you would be able to opt out. I think there's usually some earnest money involved, but it's usually on things like this, it's not a good. And I think if you find something wrong during that due diligence period, you opt out and get the majority of your money back. I think it's like $100 or something, some nominal administrative fee if you decide to opt out if you find something wrong. So that's to protect several things. That's to protect our possible purchase of the land. The owners, it gives them a warm fuzzy that we've got an agreement. And the third thing is it puts everything in order that we can back out during the due diligence period. Or if there are any other, circumstances, surrounding that property.
Good to know.
And then this is this area, of course, you can see that all the developments that are already. And, this from the ponds on all the way down, it's only going to get.
It doesn't show us walking.
Watson
Watson Hill.
Yeah, Watson Hill is up to the right.
Yeah.
And of course too, all that empty area, there's developers that own all of that. The company that Tony's talking to owns 6,000 acres in that area. So, it's not if, it's when. And so if we get the possibility to secure some land in this area, it's going to be prime for our students that'll be in that area. Any questions? Okay, I think that's all we have on the slide deck.
Perfect. Any questions? Everybody good? Easy stuff, right? No big deal. Brought up a lot of good stuff happening. It's interesting, and I circled it here, Jeff. I think that's pretty impressive. 4.2 days is the average work order turnaround.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's pretty impressive.
This is a little bit more, somewhat 1 month period. So the last one's a little skewed because it was a year. But this one gives you an idea of just kind of a snapshot of the month.
Mhm. All right, well, that said, I know we got some art stuff downstairs we want to get to, so if nobody else has anything, we will move on to that, adjourn our facilities meeting.